All right. I think that we're now live. So normally we've been doing this for so long, and we've had this intro that's always been a great cue for us. It's kind of it kind of sets you, I find, at least when I start hearing that music, and it gives me my 40 seconds to kind of settle in, make my shoulders straight. And
Yeah. Even though I notice it still says Blog Talk Radio, so that's kind of something that I guess we should update. But yeah, I know you're right. It really does sort of get you into the mode and get you all ready to go. So it is kind of funny just to have silence.
yeah. So now we're here on week three of our live video show, and so we've been messing around with different software options, and I've been late at night diligently going through and googling and trying to figure out new ways or new programs or new ways to bring us to air that will be more. I mean, first and foremost, more pleasant for the viewer, um, in the way that they you kind of digest the show, and but secondarily something that's easier for us to produce, and having an application that will take care of all of our um, buttons and so on. Because when I do the radio show, um, you can't see me, so I can sit here, I can tab out, I can bring up something, I can bring up an audio clip, I can mute one of us, and it's all behind the scenes. It never shows up in the audio file. But I feel really exposed with doing the show now because I can't do anything. I can't mute myself and blow my nose, which I've done on occasion. you know, or if I'm trying to hold back a sneeze, you know. All this stuff is now going to be on camera, and after doing it, I mean, I've been doing a podcast for about 6 years, and we've been doing this one together for about four, and uh, you get spoiled with what you can get away with and not have it come across on the audio. And I feel there's a portion of my brain, like a good 20% of my brain, that's just like sitting there trying to watch me so that I don't do something terribly embarrassing while the show is going on. And on top of that, watching me dilly dally around on my screens, and kind of produce the show while we're doing it. So we're trying to find things that are more hands off, and so this one will look different than the first two, and we'll see if we can build upon this software and make it completely nice and smooth so that we can just focus on looking at each other and having great conversations.
So just know you're not alone in all of that. I've watched the last 2 weeks to sort of critique myself and see how I can present myself better because, like you, I'm not used to it. I'm used to always doing audio, but not with the video. And there is a certain portion of which you can hide behind when you're only doing audio. When you're doing video, you're all out there. So making faces or not looking in the right place or not having the lighting properly set up, which makes a big difference, I found. So you're not alone in that, and it's like you said, it's a learning experience, and as we go along, I'm sure it'll just get better and better. And now I have a nice backdrop and not my messy office too.
I love when I asked you about that off air. You're like, yeah, Peter came home and he set this up for me. Like
That's right.
it's so classic Peter, building you something.
That's right. That's right. That's what he does.
Yeah. I also find too, like on the first two shows, something that I think is something that's really nice is you know, listening to the show and watching the show, seeing you in the bottom corner or seeing myself in the bottom corner of the show, kind of actively listening. And I think that was kind of neat. But on the first two shows, just because of the way that my screen was captured, it got cut off, even though I tried to fix it on the second one. And I feel like that's something that adds nice and adds to the show. And I've done interviews like this before, and it's really nice to be able to choose who you're looking at, depending on where you are in a point or where you are in um, you know bringing something new to the conversation. And I think I'm really happy that this. I really believe that this is going to alleviate that us being cut off. So I'm excited for that as well.
Good.
Yeah.
Me too. It'll
All
be
right.
fun.
Um, so the show idea I had for today is something that I kind of get a little bit worked up about. I thought it's perfect because it's something that's really a passion of mine, and to have it on video, it's going to be funny because you're going to see my hands go everywhere because I get so excited talking about it because it's something that really changed my life. And when I was younger, especially in my teenage years, going to high school and stuff like that, I had a real issue with regulating myself and regulating my own bedtime. And this is something that, today I live this incredibly beautiful life. I don't make a ton of money, but I live very richly. And using spirituality and spiritual principles and the things that I've learned um, in all my years of being on this path has really helped me create a life I feel like I'm so rich, despite, my income not being over $80,000 a year or something, that some line that we would choose in North America as being, somebody who's really rich. I get to wake up when I want. My daytimes are largely free. I don't work a 40-hour work week. Everything that I do, I enjoy. But today, I woke up to an alarm, and woe was me. It was a 10:30 alarm. 'Cause, I I know I'm not going to get any sympathy, especially from anybody with kids. But and so I'm not complaining I had to wake up at 10:30, but it really reminded me, because I so rarely wake up to an alarm, and it's a part of my life. Like when I was designing my life, and I think that's really the thing. We talk sometimes living the life of your dreams. Sometimes sometimes it's tough to imagine that, what that looks like when we're stuck, when we're in debt, or when we're in relationships that we don't want to be in, or ones that aren't as great as we hope they were to be, when we're saddled with responsibility, when we've made financial commitments beyond the present moment. So the dream life sometimes I feel gets lost, and it was lost on me too, because if I'm stuck in grade 11, like I'm referencing that point I mentioned earlier, like it's not really, you know, tangible to me. I don't really know what that is, but I like the idea of a designed life, and moving in the direction of a designed life. And that's something that I feel like it would really turn me on when I started reading and educating myself outside of the traditional structures, how I could design my life in a way that I could make more money than I spend, and I could pay for my life, but live it in a way that lets me do all the things that I really like doing, and really minimizes the things that I don't like doing. One of the things I really don't like doing, and most people don't like doing, from feedback, is waking up too early and waking up to an alarm, and having to start their day tired and go through their day tired. And to me, that was always so visceral. I because I was always so curious, and so going back in high school, I would never go to bed on time. Like I had to get up at 7 or whatever, an average, a normal hour, and it would be 11 o'clock. And 11 o'clock, I knew from math, it was my 8 hours, and I would never go to bed at 11 o'clock. I just wasn't done playing with the world yet. I wasn't done playing video games, or hanging out with my friends, or reading, or spending time alone. And I'd constantly go to bed at 2, 3 in the morning, because to me, school wasn't that important, on a personal level. And I didn't mind waking up at 7 o'clock, but I mean, boy, did I ever hate it. And boy, was it terrible for my body, terrible, for my health. Um, and it actually prevented me from living the life of design life, or in the long term, the life of my dreams. Because when I'm tired, I don't really contribute to my long term goals. I just focus on getting through the day. I make poor eating decisions when I'm tired, and all these things. And today I woke up to my alarm, and I wasn't done sleeping yet. Even though I went to bed, I knew I had to get up at 10:30. I woke up, I went to bed just after 2. So I gave myself 8 hours, but for whatever reason, I was in a new period of dream sleep, and my alarm woke me out of a dream. And I was like, oh, that didn't feel good at all. And so I hit the snooze. I set my alarm for like another 40 minutes. I was like, I'll forego my shower. We all do this. I'll forego my shower. Oh, I don't really need to clean up the kitchen. The 10 minutes I wanted to have to myself, I don't really need that. So I went to my clock, and I rotated it up to like 11:10, and that gave me just enough time to get back into another dream. And it was a different dream, and then my alarm woke me up out of it again. And I remember feeling how like, whatever, our YouTube channel, I can say whatever I want. If I remember how shitty it made me feel. And and I lay there in bed, and when you wake up too early, or you wake up from a state of sleep that's not your natural rhythm upwards, like I feel that this buzzing in my body. Like I feel like this is it's a buzz, and not like a good, like excited buzz. I feel like vibrating, like, oh, like I got shooken out of something. Um, and it took me a little bit to recalibrate. And even though, let's 8 hours, my goodness, I know a lot of people don't get that. and I get that a lot. But tonight, 8 hours wasn't enough. My body would have naturally slept 9.5 for whatever reason. Other days I wake up totally naturally on my own after 5.5, and it's perfectly fine. I find that if I wake up on my own naturally, I feel great. But I really know that it changes the course of my day, because I don't go work out, or I don't go on my walk, or I can't. My mind's too busy. It's too flustered to sit still for 20 minutes on a meditation. I don't create things that I want to create just because I'm a human being and that's what I like doing. Um, and I just do the things I have to do, and kind of begrudgingly. And I feel like there's so much around this subject, but I feel that the title, not wanting to go to bed, is something that we all kind of have this internal struggle with in life. And I'd like to bring attention to honoring, making a better decisions, and maybe alleviating some of the reasons why we don't want to go to bed and don't want to give ourselves the full 8 hours, and then to look at those things and to see if we can start moving in a direction of a designed life of the things that are important to us. So I know that's a lot. That's got a lot of hooks for you, and I'll give the floor to you.
Great. Okay, so here's the thing. There's a lot of scientific studies about you were talking about when you were a teenager, and how you didn't want to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. And there have been studies about teenagers needing much more sleep, and the way the school system is set up that doesn't really coincide with that. Um, I think the biggest thing for me is that really learning to listen to our bodies and what our bodies need. So much as we are not the body, it is the vessel in which we express our loving presence, and our ego, depending on the day and the moment and what we're feeling and thinking. Um, and we do have to take care of it. And I think we ignore the needs of the body and really the mind and soul. But let's talk about the body today, because that seems to be the direction that we're going. And I think that we ignore it because we're so busy in our lives, and there's all these shoulds that we have, a mile long of what we should and shouldn't do. And so certain things have to suffer for it. And a lot of times it is that rhythm, the body's rhythm, natural rhythm. We don't listen to it. And I mean, like, face it, in times of um, ancient peoples, they lived very much by the rhythm of their bodies. They went to sleep. They didn't have electric lights and heating and all these things. So when it got dark, they went to sleep. And the natural biorhythm told them it was time to sleep, and became, just a natural way of living their lives. You get all your work done when the sun is shining, and when it goes down, you get your rest, because you've got a very heavy, and back then it would have been a much more physical existence, because, you're hunting, you're gathering, you're everything you're doing. You don't have a KitchenAid in the kitchen. If you're making something, you're doing it all, if you're grinding grain, you're doing it all by hand. And if you're chasing after food, it's all very physical. So your sleep becomes very important, and you live by the sun and the moon, even the cycles of the moon. And I think we don't do that now, because we put so many pressures on ourselves to perform, and we have a to-do list all the time, and we put pressure on ourselves to complete the to-do list, and it adds stress to us, uh, because of which we don't sleep properly. It's a whole cycle. And I think your whole idea of your living by design is is spot on, because I think we put too much weight on how much money we have and how much stuff we have, and the therapy that will all provide for us. It doesn't. um, and I mean, we've talked about this before, and I have gone through a lot of this in in our financial situation and having to look at the priorities and to budget and to sort that all out. But in addition to that, it was also to recognize that you can live with a lot less. Now, can you live with a lot less sleep? Clearly no, because it's a physical requirement. And so, but then it's also all intertwined, because if I'm working so hard and stressed about it that I'm not getting sleep, that might be a reason why I'm staying up later at night to get things done that I didn't get done earlier because I was so busy trying to make more money. Um, I always consider myself to be a night owl. So for me to stay up later, there's something about, it might have to do with needing alone time. There's something about when everybody else is asleep and I've really got that alone time to spend time with myself, sort of rehash the day or just to decompress or whatever it is. Um, I've always sort of been a night owl and never really good at getting up in the morning till I had kids. And then, you're forced by the situation around you to get up at get up in the middle of the night and then get up at 6 o'clock in the morning because you've got now a child to feed and a child to take care of, and they are going to be up at 6 in the morning. But I find now, it's because my kids are adults, I find now that I am going back to my night owl ways. Now, Peter's been away during the week for the last 2 months, and I find that I go up to bed at 10 o'clock and I've um, recorded tacky Christmas movies, and I'll lie in bed and watch them till, midnight, 12:30, sometimes 1 o'clock, which I don't usually do when he's here because I like to get up with him and have breakfast with him before he goes to work. But because he's not here, I'm like, I can get up when I want. And I do. And it is a much different, I won't say better, because I've gotten, we don't wake up to an alarm clock because we naturally wake up at the time every morning that we normally wake up, because your body does get used to it if you're doing it, if you've got that kind of schedule where it's very regulated and very, um, the same every day. But I could very easily fall into that. Well, I'll just stay up a little later. And I don't know what it is about the night hours that have a different effect. Um, there's something about the nighttime that really, I don't know, there's an openness about it. There's the quietness, they say the ethers are more open in during the night and in the early hours of the morning, and maybe that's got something to do with it. Um, but yeah, I really think that we should listen to our bodies and we should sleep when we're tired. And I know oftentimes I'll get tired in the middle of the afternoon if I've been really busy and maybe staying up later. I'll get a little tired at 4 in the afternoon, and then I'll be questioning myself and giving myself a hard time. You shouldn't be tired. You should be blah, blah, blah. But listen to the body. The body's saying, you need a little nap. So take a little nap. Like there's really nothing wrong with it. I think we have set too many rules for life. And it's really hard to live a life by design, as you said, when we have so many rules that we have to live by. Because having rules sets up expectations. Setting up expectations opens up us up to failure, and it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that you bring up. I wasn't initially going to go this place, but I like that you bring up the idea of, sometimes at 4 o'clock, your body says you need a nap. Um, I think that's a real natural part of our biorhythms, and there's cultures in this world who really honor that. The siesta. You know, um, and I know, I don't need a nap every day, but I nap a lot more than the average person. I can guarantee it, and it feels phenomenal. It feels phenomenal. And I understand that if I had, a 9 to 5 job, or hell, a 7 to 7 job, I wouldn't, you don't have the opportunity. You can't do it, and I get that. But part of my design life, part of the life that I wanted to live, was one that um, I would have enough freedom that I could. It wasn't like when I was thinking about my design life, I was like, oh, I need to make sure that I have room in every day so that I can have a nap if I want one. But that my life is broken up enough that I don't have to do the 40-hour work week with an hour and a half commute tacked onto it every day. Um, I understand that I can't have an Audi, a new Audi every couple of years on that. So, if that was important to me, it's important to ask yourself why. But, um, you know, I think it's a really wonderful exercise um, to jot down on a piece of paper or however you do it, and ask yourself, like, the things that I would really like my life to be. It doesn't have to be CEO of a Fortune 500 company or be a perfect Martha Stewart, but just the things that you enjoy doing. Is there enough time in your life for those things? Is there enough freedom in your life? You know, do you want more freedom? Some people might not. Um, you know, and then to decide to start moving in that direction and understanding, once we start making a list of the things that we really want to make more time for, and start moving in that direction and be creative about honoring the need to make more money than you spend. And as long as you do that, you can do whatever you want. You can design your life however it is you feel. And I love that you bring up the idea of having we have too many rules. We're not allowed to go for a nap. We shouldn't have to nap. We should be able to get along on 6 hours sleep. We should be there for the kids. We should be there for everything. And I'd really ask the question, have we set those rules, or have those rules been set for us? Have we been encouraged to take on more than what is healthy? And who is that serving? Is that serving you, your soul, your family, um, the people in your life that you love and are close to and who matter to you? Or have those rules been set perhaps by a system that profits off of you overextending yourself? And I think that if we ask ourselves these questions, it's very easy to get emotionally charged to help us move in the direction of things that serve our life and reclaim our own personal power. Um, it's one thing to see it, but if you start to ask these questions, it's really easy to act on it because it will conjure up some anger. That, wait a second, I didn't decide this. This was decided for me. Why the heck not should I be able to have a nap? Why the heck not should I have to work 5 days a week? Who said 40 hours a week was the standard? Who said 3 hours a week of vacation or 3 weeks of vacation a year is what I deserve or what I need? And I don't mean vacation going off and spending tons of money that won't make you happy anyways. I mean having enough time for you to take care of the things that are important to you in your life, whether they be you or the people you love or the things you love.
Yeah, I think it doesn't matter what where the rules come from. We are we have the ability to question, to be aware
Yeah.
that this is what's happening, to be aware that we're falling into that social trap, whatever it might be. And I think in our awareness and in our questioning of uh, all the expectations that society puts on us, that we put on ourselves, um, that we find the answer that we're looking for. We find the direction that we want to go in. Am I working 60, 70 hours a week because it's something I want to do? Or am I working 60, 70 hours a week because I want people to see me as successful? I want to have the Audi every couple of years, or the big house, or the nice, uh, whatever it is. Um, it's in that questioning, in that really self exploration, that we find exactly, why we're doing things, and where we really want to be. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are working 16, 70 hours a week, even more, and they maybe all they really would love to do is play in a band, or um, you know be a singer or be a dancer or work in a retail store or build cabinets or furniture or sew beautiful dresses or whatever it is, but they don't see how they could possibly make the kind of money that they're making now. But then what are you giving up in exchange for the money? Um, and if it's not the money, the fame, the fortune, the success, measure of success, for me, money and success were very intertwined, and were very much a part of the same thing I was searching for. And behind that, there is a feeling that you're looking for. And it's about getting behind the surface desires and really finding what that emotional satisfaction you're looking for in the success, the money, the busyness, the whatever it is. And I think the fulfillment that you feel from doing something that you're so passionate about doing and that you really enjoy doing is worth more than any huge paycheck you could ever. And I know there's people out there that will probably argue that fact, um, but I stick to my guns. I do believe that is the case. So, and after singing last week in that concert, I swear by it. I
You felt
swear by it.
you felt alive.
It was amazing. Yes. Yes. It's like singing feeds my soul, and I have to do it, and I'm always doing it. Unless I'm in a really bad place, then I'm not singing, and then I know something's going on that I need to look at. It's kind of a barometer for me as well. Um, but I love doing it. And I love making that music with other people who are also passionate about it. And I don't make money on it. I do it because I love it. If I could make money on it, that would be a bonus. But I think everything we do should be because we love doing it, not because of the paycheck. Because, how many times have you gone and got a job and had a job and gone for a better job because it was better because you got a bigger paycheck, and after 3 or 4 months it wasn't good enough anymore because you didn't like what you were doing. So do what you love and learn
Yeah.
to live within your means. I mean, it's so much more fulfilling. And when you think you're going to be working for 30, 40, 50 years, it might as well be doing something you love. And it doesn't mean that what you love in your 20s is going to be what you love in your 50s. You're allowed to change. My kids, when they were making their decisions about going to university or college or what they were going to take and what they wanted to be, I always said to them, what you want to be now is not going to be the same as what you want to be when you're 50. Don't worry about it. Pick what you want to do now, and the rest will fall into place, and it will change, and you will change, and that's okay, because that's part of growing and being a human, and getting older and going through the ages. So um so yeah, I think it's really important to do what you love. Really, really important.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really well said. And I know, like, with all the work that you've done with like professional, well, like successful men, in your field and in your business, that idea of, yeah, someday I'd like to be in a band, or I'd like to create some music, or I'd like to make things with my hands and not just be in finance or something. Um, and so many don't make the change because it's like, oh, well, I can't replace my income doing that. Um, and that's true, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it, or move your life in the direction where you can do more of those things. But so long as you're attached to spending money at the rate that you're spending money at a job where you're making the maximum amount of money per hour at, yeah, you trap yourself. But you do it to yourself, and that's something that we need to realize, is that nobody forces us to spend money. You need to spend money for shelter, and you need to spend money for food and a little bit of fun. But There's ways to do that that are so much cheaper than what we've come to expect or what we've been prodded to do by buying all the stuff that's on the commercials. The only reason they make TV shows is to have us sit and watch the commercials. It's the only reason they exist. Um, and again, that goes to the earlier point of who are we serving by having these expectations of ourselves. Um, and I love that you bring up the idea of how money and success was intertwined for you. And my God, it was for me too, of course. Well, nearly all of us. That's what we're showing. What is success if it's not having a $700,000 house and be able to throw dinner parties and with nice things and show up in nice cars and wear nice clothing? What would success be if it's not that? And once you see behind the veil, there's nothing to say that living a life where you get to have a nap and then you woke up and you read a book and that was your 3 p.m. to 7:15, where you started a journal, where you started to journal again, where you started to write, where you bought the wood and started making some cabinets just for the heck of it because you enjoy it. And maybe you can sell it, maybe not. Maybe you upgrade something in your house, but it's a project that you created with your own hands and your own inspiration and your own vision. Um, who's to say success isn't being a part of a choir and making beautiful music for people for free? Why is that not success? Why is it not success to that you volunteered for 2 hours this week? When we can start seeing these things as successes, not so much the material things that we have to show for us trading, um, in almost all cases more than we want to trade for it. Um, we can redefine these things and live much more richly because so much more of our life is spent doing the things that we enjoy. And one thing that I there's some things in life that I truly am passionate about. I love playing baseball, and I love challenges, and I love socializing. But I don't want to play baseball 40 hours a week. Even the thing I love doing most. If I had any choice, if I could do something in the next half hour and have a fully 10 experience with 18 people and play a game of baseball in the sun. Once I get to hour 30 of that in a week, I want to do other stuff. And so that was something that was really important to me in my life. And I understand, I'm more of a Myers Briggs. I'm more of a P than a J, and so that's more important to me. But it's all part of the exercise of designing your own life and what's important to you. And what's important to me is to have many tasks, many things to do in a week, because I know myself and I know that I don't like doing anything, even my favorite things, more than I don't know 25 hours a week. And so I have to create a life that allows me to make enough money, makes me make more money than I spend, and allows me to do those things. It gives me the freedom to choose. And like you say, you're allowed to change. What you want to do this week can be different than what you want to do next week. What you do this year can be different than what you want to do in 4. There's no rules. Nobody's in charge here. You know, except you got to make more money than you spend. And so it's a cute little puzzle to work out for yourself. But the benefits are absolutely phenomenal because maybe you don't care about waking up at 10 o'clock. Maybe you're happy to wake up at 6:15 every day, and there are people like that, and that's perfectly fine. Um, but being able to fill your days with all the things that are important to you, whatever they look like, I mean, my God, that's a life well lived. That's a life richly lived. And if we can just pull back the definition that's been shoved down our throats about what that success and what a rich person is, um, we can apply it to ourselves, and just by working out a little problem on some paper and putting some thought to it and having the courage to go after the things that we want, and have a loving no to the things that we no longer do.
Yeah, I think courage is a big thing because I think it does take courage to let go of that financial security to do the thing that you love. Um, and I think, that whole idea of really being honest with yourself about what you really do want and not what you think other people want of you. I think that's really important too. Um, I mean, Peter did it. He was a programmer before he moved up here. And when he moved up here, he said, "No, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to work with my hands. I love." He was doing renovations a bit down the states, and he said, "No, that's really what I want to do." And I ask him every day, even when he comes home like totally shattered, and all he could do is climb into bed and fall asleep. And he says, "No, I wouldn't give it up." because it's his passion. He loves to be able to stand back at the end of a job and go, I look what I did. Look what I put together. Um, and not, not even just him. It's that loving presence working through him to create. And in creation, there's nothing better than co-creating with the universe. Whether it's singing or building things or writing, or we're not doing that alone. There's a collective consciousness that is feeding us if we only stop long enough to open up to it. And that creativity is so um, life enhancing and fulfilling. And there's nothing like it. There really isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's no resistance. I mean, that's the thing that really serves to, that we use to piss ourselves off is the resistance. It's the resistance. I don't want to get up. I don't want to go to work today. I don't want to miss my kids today. I don't want to go to bed. I don't want to I don't want to look like this. I want to have more time for me. I want more validation from others. You know, it's not accepting like what is. It's that resistance, and that feels awful. It feels awful. You know, we have this life. We have this beautiful temporary life, and there's so much that feels so joyous and great. But I'm going to I'm going to choose to be upset until this person changes their behavior, or until this circumstances changes around me, or until this person can show up in my life and meet my needs. um, it's ridiculous. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's that old saying, I'm going to shoot myself in the foot and wait for someone else to feel the pain.
That's right. Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's really what we do when we choose to suffer. So the only person that can change it is me, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So do the exercise. and if just one thing enters your life that you like doing more than you're currently doing now, it's so worth it. So what are we here for? What are we here for? Do what you want. No one's in charge. There's no rules.
That's right.
Mm.
No rules, no fear.
Well, we've used up our time, and Bettina, I know normally I throw up the logo of us. So if you want to lead us through a meditation, but you'll be on camera this time for the first time in years.
Oh dear. Well, I usually close, just a warning, I usually close my eyes when I'm doing the meditation because I can tune in better. So that's probably what you're all going to get. So I apologize if it's not a pretty sight. Let's close our eyes and take a deep breath. And as you breathe, connect with that part of you that is the loving presence, the center of your being, your true essence, the part of you that knows no boundaries, no rules, no gender, no age. It is that infinite, beautiful little spark of God of which you are and which has manifested in this body, the vessel with which you express that loving presence, the ego, and everything else that is a part of your human experience. And know that it is all well and good, and that even when the ego has taken over and carried you off into a place of suffering, it is all well and good and in divine and perfect timing. For this is the lesson of your humanness. This is what shows you the path to the good, the joy, the love, and that much sought after peace and contentment that we're all looking for. And without the suffering, we don't appreciate the joy. Without the suffering, we don't learn to find a way beyond it. We forget who we are, but with the lessons of suffering, we can remember that we are the love and that we can spread that love within us and to the world by just connecting and knowing who we are. And when you're ready, wiggle your fingers and your toes and bring yourself back to the world.
Thank you, Bettina.
You're welcome.
I love how you bring up the suffering and that's what leads us to contemplate choosing anew. So often we have this feeling where I don't want to suffer, I don't want to feel the suffering anymore. But that's the critical moment where we choose to either run away from it. I don't want to feel it. I don't want to feel it. Or we could choose to go right into it. What is this showing me? What is this showing me? What are my feelings telling me? What do I need to do more of? What do I need to evaluate and move in a new direction towards? Um, it's a critical choice, and too often we make it unconsciously to run away.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Um, Well, thank you everybody for joining us on our third episode here live, and it's a pleasure to put them on. And you know, I'm really excited about bringing more of these to bear.
Me too. Have a great week, everyone.